What's up, guys? It's been about a year or so since P2, and I'm finally getting back into Ashes of Creation for the early access release on Steam. This guide will be a quick crash course on getting your Cleric geared up from Initiate to Radiant gear to in-game builds once you get to 25 and start crafting. I'll also throw in some Theorycraft builds for item level 29 in-game gear as well. Let's get into it. To start off, while finishing what little quests you have to level 10, you should be focusing on your Destiny board to acquire most of your Initiate gear that will hold you over till you start to get your hands on your Adept gear. To be more precise with how the drops work, think of each bracket ranging from increments of 10. So anything under level 10 will drop Initiate gear, and then from level 10 to 19 will drop Adept gear, and so forth. Around level 10, it really depends on how you are playing with what I recommend for your gear. If you're doing group content and your main focus is healing, then I recommend trying to find pieces of gear that provide power, magic power, and healing power. So even with heavy gear early on, if it has power on it, you should roll. For early on jewelry, I recommend getting your hands on the Kindle Trace neck and rings. That'll be a big jump in healing power for you as well. Now for solo or duo leveling, you're going to want to stick with most all heavy gear prioritizing power, con, and physical defense. This is because you'll pretty much be face tanking the mobs while throwing out haunts and AoEing them down. For Adept gear, there are tons of options on where to farm, but in reality, everything drops gear. It just depends on the location for what will drop. For example, Halo Aegis drops from mobs in the Riverlands. From my experience, most of my Adept gear from non-star otters to 1-star shardlings and crabs, since I leveled up solo or duo to level 20. I'll go more into detail on specific locations for your base Radiant gear you'll want to farm. Around level 20, you'll start to realize how big of a power spike it is when replacing your Adept gear with Radiant gear, making you want to go farm 20 plus mobs instantly for a full set. Each zone has its own gear set drops. For example, Anvil's 20 plus mobs will drop Molt Ruin heavy gear. For each area, I will give my favorite farming spots, but keep in mind they will probably be a little more contested from when I was farming. Here are your base Radiant sets and farming spots for each area that you might want to keep in mind to build upon for your first set of out of level 23 Radiant gear crafts. For the Riverlands, you got the Great Hollow Heavy, Hollow Shade Medium, and Metalborn Light set drops. I personally didn't use any of the pieces from the Great Hollow or Hollow Shade sets, but the Metalborn helm, chest, shoulders, and belt are pieces to look out for that you can throw into your set. Just south of Halcyon, there's a POI named Ursine Caves, and the plateau just north of it will be Goblins and Bears. Most are level 20 plus, ranging from 2 to 3 star difficulty. For the Anvils, you got the Molt Ruin Heavy, Cinder March Medium, and Spark Veil Light set drops. The Molt Ruin Helm and Bracers are really good pieces to look out for because they have power on them, and also the pants are a good option if you want to swap something out. I personally didn't use any pieces from the Cinder March or Spark Veil sets, but the Cinder March chest might be something to look out for that you can turn to your set as well. Just northwest of Dunehold, there's a POI located by the river named Timbercatch. Most of these humanoids are level 20 plus, ranging from 2 to 3 star difficulty. For the desert, you got the Sun Bastion Heavy, Grip Mantle Medium, and Dust Whisper Light set drops. I personally hardly farmed in the desert and didn't use any of these sets, but the Sun Bastion Belt and most of the pieces of Dust Whisper could be decent pieces to look out for. You could mix and match for your Fortitude set bonus as well. Just north of Azmoran, there's a POI named the Prismarium, where you'll find Shardlings, Fire Elementals, and Scarabs that are 20 plus, ranging from 2 to 3 star difficulty. For the Tropics, you got the Brine Plate Heavy, Brine Tread Medium, and Seafoam Light set drops. The Brine Plate chest and pants are both good options as they give good health and power stats. The Brine Tread shoulders and boots also give good power stats. And most of the Seafoam set, especially the chest and legs, are really good options for more power. Just north of Seahook, there's a POI named Coral Grotto, where you'll find skeletons, crabs, and ghosts that are level 20 plus, ranging from 2 to 3 star difficulty. I will also recommend, just east of Seahook, right below the Harbinger event, there is a POI named Pyrespire Vent, where you will find scarabs and elementals that are level 20 plus 2-star difficulty. And lastly, for the jungle, you got the Graveplate Heavy, Veil Render Medium, and Shade Weft Light set drops. The Graveplate set is by far the best heavy caster gear out of the item level 23 base Radiant sets to choose from. The Graveplate shoulders, belt, bracers, chest, and boots are the best options to mix and match with. Keep in mind, some items will be harder to attain than others. The Shade Weft bracers and pants and boots are also good pieces to look out for. Just northwest of Wildport, there's a POI named Kraken's Belly, where you will find level 20 plus crabs along the beach that you can clump up and AoE down that are 1 stars, and also pirates within the cave itself that range from 2 to 3-star difficulty. All in all, there are a ton of options to choose from, but the pieces I mentioned before are going to be your best choices for whichever kind of build you're going for, whether it be heavy, medium, or light, and force, finesse, or fortitude sets. Here's a quick snapshot of all the pieces I recommend. Keep it in mind for each area along with your cloak and jewelry. Now that we have covered base Radiant item level 23 sets, we'll get into our item level 26 crafts that you will want to start working towards as soon as possible. The most impactful crafts are going to come from your weapons and jewelry when looking at power and healing power. I recommend crafting Jen's Curious Pendant as well as your Petal Shard earrings and rings first, followed by your weapons. For the weapons, I recommend the Glory Bound Laurel Bound Great Mace because it gives a ton of power and healing crit chance. I also recommend the Glory Bound Steady Draw or Laurel String bows, with the main difference being max health, crit defense, and wounds for the longbow, compared to magic speed, healing crit chance, and bleeds, comboed with your Bless weapon Radiant Fire damage for the short bow. Now I will say, with the current climate in TTK and physical damage being very abundant, I broke away from the standard build most clerics will want to go with, leaning towards more defenses and health at the cost of magic and healing power. I'll briefly go over what I think the more standard build will look like first, and then compare it to what I am currently running at item level 26. Do keep in mind, some pieces of gear are going to be much harder to get your hands on than others, and some may not even be attainable yet on your server due to needing a journeyman armorsmith station in required region. And so keep in mind the base item level 23 Radiant pieces you might want to swap in and out. The more standard build that leans more towards magic and healing power that I threw together for the item level 23 to 26 is going to look like this. Two-piece Blue Morden, which will be the hood and bracers. Two-piece Crypt Ward, which will be the chest and pants. Three-piece Grave Plate, which will be the shoulders, belt, and boots. One Brace of the Bomb hands. One Skull Plate cape. And the jewelry and weapons will stay the same, but to complete the build, one Jen's Curious Pendant, 2 Petal Shard earrings, 2 Petal Shard rings. Finish with the Glory Bound Laurel Bound Great Mace and Glory Bound Steady Draw or Laurel String bows. Now to compare that armor with the build I am currently running, do keep in mind the set is going to be much easier to attain and tankier than the standard build for item level 26. 2-piece Blue Morden, which will be the hood and shoulders. 4-piece Rosarium, which will be the chest, bracers, belt, and boots. 1 Molt Ruin pants. 1 Brace of the Bomb. 1 Skull Plate cloak. Now there are tons of options to mix and match between item level 23 and 26 sets, so there could be a better build than what was presented. So let me know on your thoughts in the comments for the current build and what you think I should consider swapping out. The last thing we will talk about is the Theorycrafted item level 29 gear, because at this moment we are not currently to that point in the wipe, so this hasn't been battle tested yet. Almost all of the item level 29 crafts are going to take a very long time and gold to acquire, so again, any insights towards the Theorycraft is welcome in the comments. Here's my item level 29 Theorycrafted build. 5-piece Sam Bastion, which will be the helmet, shoulders, belt, bracers, and pants. 2-piece Ash Veil, which will be the chest and boots. 1 Brace of the Bomb hands, 1 Tomb Plate cloak, 1 Tide Rot earring, 1 Blood Hoop earring, 1 Tide Rot ring, and 1 Carfin alumnus ring. Finish with the Stormcurrent Galecrest Great Mace, comboed with the Dreadwake Undertow Longbow. Will complete my item level 29 Theorycrafted build. For all the builds that we talked about in this video, there will be a link in the description below if you want to get a more in-depth look. Final disclaimer, everything that we talked about is subject to change, and this video might even become outdated within the next phase. But I will do my best to make more videos as time goes on for Cleric whenever there are major changes to discuss. If this video helped at all, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more Ashes of Creation focused around the Cleric archetype. Peace, y'all.